It's important to note that Donald Trump is headed to his home. He's going to spend the night at the Trump Tower in Midtown. But tomorrow is another story. Let's go to NJ Burkett at the courthouse in Lower Manhattan with the legal battle that will take center stage tomorrow. NJ.
Yeah, Dave, no question about it. You know, authorities have been bracing for demonstrations down here for more than 2 weeks. Security, as you know, correspondingly, has been ramped up. But those demonstrations, Dave, that they've been bracing for have failed to materialize, at least not so far. Of course, all of that could change tomorrow when the former president faces a judge.
His legal team insists that Donald Trump is coming to New York to fight. There will be no contrition, no plea bargain, nothing less than a full-throated not guilty.
He's gearing up for a battle. You know, this is something that obviously we believe is a political persecution. We're ready for this fight, and I look forward to moving this thing along as quickly as possible to exonerate him.
Sources say Trump is facing roughly 24 counts, felonies among them. The precise charges will remain secret until the indictment is unsealed here tomorrow. But prosecutors have been investigating the so-called hush money payment to porn actress Stormy Daniels and the alleged cover-up. Trump is suspected of listing the payment as a legal expense, which could be a felony if it was intended to benefit his campaign.
Hush money payments themselves, not a crime. Falsifying business records to conceal hush money payments, typically a misdemeanor, but can be a felony if it's done in furtherance of or to conceal another crime.
Among the other crimes, campaign finance violations, state election infractions, or some sort of tax crime. But Trump's civil attorney Alina Habba is convinced the case is based on the hush money payments and nothing more than that.
That is something that is age-old, and that is garbage. This is an extortion situation that he had his lawyer handle. I don't even know if he knew about it at the time. I don't believe he did. So a lawyer settles an extortion claim, gets an NDA signed, and somehow he's getting indicted. The facts are the facts. We have a woke DA who's now bringing a misdemeanor, stacking it, and trying to make it a felony. That's a fact, and we're going to fight it.
Well, there's your insight into the defense. No word so far from the court as to whether cameras will be allowed at the time of the arraignment. A coalition of media lawyers, including those from ABC, is fighting to get those cameras in. We're live in Lower Manhattan, NJ Burkett, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
And NJ, talk to me a little about security at your location and how the press are handling covering this case.
Well, Dave, the global media has now descended on Lower Manhattan. I've covered a lot of cases here, Dave, as you know, over the years, over 30 years, and I have never seen this kind of media attention that we're seeing here. You know, not since Dominique Strauss-Kahn, you know, not since Harvey Weinstein. Those two cases taken together, we took the media in both those cases and put them together, you still wouldn't have the number of TV crews and news organizations that are here outside the courthouse now. We'll see even more of them tomorrow. I expect, based on what I'm hearing from security, that Center Street will be closed down to allow more of a security cordon around the courthouse. But what we're expecting is that this will be a very quick proceeding. They're going to rush Donald Trump in there, and they're going to rush him out of there. And then he'll essentially get into a motorcade and go to the airport and then leave for Florida, essentially, once this is over. So, yes, you've got a lot of media here, you've got a lot of security here, and not, as I pointed out a moment ago, not a lot of demonstrators. You could count them on one hand, Dave.
It's good to hear so far. All right, NJ Burkett at the courthouse in Lower Manhattan, thank you very much. We want to head uptown to Midtown and Trump Tower. Check back in with Kimberly Richardson. We do know that the motorcade is getting pretty close to you. Are you noticing any difference in the situation there, Kim?
Yes, and Liz, we are starting to see some flashing NYPD lights behind me. Again, this is 56th Street. Again, the buses are clear so you can get a good look. 56th Street between 5th and Madison. Everything is kind of quiet at this point. We do hear the choppers overhead.
Kimberly, we're going to interrupt you.
Newscopter 7. Yes.
We just saw Donald Trump walking into the building. Can you see him from your position at all?
He's in. Okay.
He is in. He did turn around. He didn't stop and speak to anyone. He waved to some people who were there, but now he is in Trump Tower.
And we're just around the corner on 5th Avenue
Gotcha.
off 56th Street, so we could not see him walking into the door there, the entrance on 56th Street, and it was relatively quiet. We didn't hear any big fanfare or welcome homes or yays or even boos. Pretty quiet out here. You may see some folks behind me. Of course, we're in the media pen. The eyes of the world are watching all of this. So as you've reported, he's inside Trump Tower, expected to stay here overnight. Tomorrow morning, head down early afternoon, head down to Lower Manhattan. But again, just a historic, we can't even say that enough of what is happening here. As I mentioned a short time ago, this was his dream. This is what he had dreamed of building here, Trump Tower, from a little boy. It was in his 30s that the former president finally got serious to build this tower, and he's had some great celebrations here when he announced his run for president, and then now this. So a full circle moment, something we've never seen before.
And really the NYPD, in terms of security there, really reinstating the protocol that was there when Donald Trump was president.
Yes, this is an identical scene to what we saw back when he was in the White House, when he would come here to New York City, come home here to his penthouse, 3-story penthouse. We would see it. Even when he was out of town, very tight security here. 56th Street, again, blocked from 5th to Madison. It remained that way until after he left the White House and it opened up. But again, we haven't seen this kind of security, both Secret Service, the NYPD. So we are hearing, we just heard some cheers over here, very faint cheers. I guess folks realize that he is now here in Trump Tower. But yes, this is a flashback to when Trump was president and what the situation was here in Midtown.
Well, everything has been going smoothly. No issues to report either from his departure from Florida or his arrival to New York. Thank you, Kimberly. And let me just go back up to Shannon Sohn. And Shannon, I see that the street is blocked off right there by Trump Tower.
Yeah, it most certainly is, and the motorcade made its way right onto East 56th Street, right here at the intersection with 5th Avenue, where Trump Tower is. But we're just going to bring this shot back. You can see that they actually have barricades up across the street, but as far back as Madison Avenue, you can see that the police have closed off the roadway as well. And as they made their way across 56th Street, you could see that they had closures in place there too. But we were talking about whether or not there were supporters or anybody really out. You see a big, really contingent. The biggest one that we've seen so far is right here at the corner of East 56th and 5th Avenue there, Madison Avenue rather, excuse me. But everyone is being sort of kept back at that point, but the entirety of the motorcade is now between Madison and 5th Avenues here on East 56th Street. So many of the people have gotten out of those cars. Obviously, we know that Mr. Trump has already gotten out and gone into Trump Tower. Others are still standing in the middle of the street, but you can see the difference in the barricades just from the last few days. Of course, 56 completely shut down at 5th Avenue with the barricades, and of course, this is all subject to change whenever he is inclined to move through the city. Reporting live over Trump Tower, Shannon Sohn, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Shannon. And we will continue to bring you all the updates on this historic arraignment of Donald Trump, former president of the United States. Be sure to stay with Channel 7, both on air and online, for the breaking updates.